I'm sure you've heard the news. Israel's parliament is once again making headlines around the world, and this time, the stakes couldn't be higher. The Israeli Knesset, the heart of the country's legislative power, has reignited a debate that has simmered for decades, and has now burst back into the global spotlight with renewed intensity. The world's attention is fixed on Jerusalem, as lawmakers take steps that could reshape the political landscape of the Middle East. News outlets from New York to London, from Paris to Riyadh, are running front-page stories, and analysts everywhere are scrambling to predict what might come next. At the center of this storm is the proposed annexation of the West Bank, a region that has long been a flashpoint for conflict, diplomacy, and hope for peace. The West Bank, with its rolling hills and ancient cities, is not just a piece of land. It's a symbol, a home, and a battleground for identity and sovereignty. Now, the question of annexation is back on the agenda, and the implications are enormous, not just for Israelis and Palestinians, but for the entire international community. Here's what you need to know, and why this moment could prove to be a turning point in the region's history. In a move that has sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles, the Israeli Knesset just took a major step forward. Lawmakers gave initial approval to two controversial bills, each with the potential to redraw borders and redefine lives. These bills, if passed, would formally annex significant portions of the occupied West Bank, a move that would have far-reaching consequences for millions. The territory in question is not just a patch of land on a map. It's home to more than 3 million Palestinians, who live under a complex web of military and civil administration, and about 500,000 Israeli settlers, whose communities have grown steadily over the years. For Palestinians, the West Bank is the heart of their future state, a place where families have lived for generations, where children go to school, and where daily life is marked by uncertainty and hope. For Israeli settlers, these are thriving communities, built with the dream of securing a Jewish homeland, often in the face of international criticism and local tension. One of the bills seeks to annex all Jewish settlements in the West Bank, effectively extending Israeli law and administration to these areas. The other bill zeroes in on Ma'ale Adumim, a major settlement city just east of Jerusalem, which has long been seen as a strategic linchpin in the settlement enterprise. Ma'ale Adumim is more than just a city. It's a symbol of Israel's presence in the West Bank, and its fate is closely watched by both supporters and critics of annexation. Supporters of the bills argue that annexation will finally bring security and stability to the region, asserting Israeli sovereignty over areas they see as historically and strategically vital. They claim it will end the ambiguity that has fueled decades of conflict and uncertainty. They point to ongoing security threats, arguing that a clear assertion of Israeli control is necessary to protect citizens and prevent violence. But critics, including the United Nations, warn that annexation would violate international law and undermine the prospects for a two-state solution, a vision that has guided peace efforts for decades. The European Union has echoed these concerns, calling the move illegal and warning of serious consequences for Israel's relationship with Europe and the broader international community. International law, as interpreted by most of the world, considers the West Bank to be occupied territory, and any unilateral annexation is a breach of the rules that have governed global order since World War II. There are fears that such a move could spark new waves of protest, violence, and instability, not just in the West Bank, but across the Middle East. The United States, traditionally Israel's closest ally, has expressed deep reservations, urging restraint and warning of potential diplomatic fallout. Saudi Arabia and other key Arab states have also voiced strong opposition, seeing annexation as a direct threat to regional peace and the rights of Palestinians. Around the world, leaders are issuing statements, holding emergency meetings, and weighing their next moves. The international community is united in its concern, if not in its approach. Inside Israel, the debate is just as fierce. The bills have exposed deep political divisions not only between left and right, but within parties themselves. Even Prime Minister Netanyahu's own Likud party was split, with most members boycotting the vote in a dramatic display of internal dissent. The sight of empty seats and party members walking out underscored just how contentious this issue has become, even among those who have long supported settlement expansion. In the end, it was a single breakaway member who tipped the balance, casting a decisive vote that has already sparked backlash and heated debate within the party. That lawmaker now faces intense scrutiny, both from colleagues and from a public deeply divided over the future of the West Bank. So, what comes next? The legislative process is far from over. These bills must still survive 3 more rounds of voting in the Knesset, each one a potential battleground for fierce debate and political maneuvering. Every vote will be closely watched, not just in Israel, but by governments and citizens around the world. Meanwhile, protests are already erupting outside Parliament, and international news crews are broadcasting every development live. Diplomatic pressures mounting, with foreign leaders making urgent phone calls and warning of consequences if the bills become law. The outcome is far from certain. The bills could still fail, or they could pass and trigger a cascade of events that will be felt for years to come. If they do pass, the consequences could be dramatic, ranging from economic sanctions and diplomatic isolation to a surge in regional tensions and possibly even violence. Israel could face sanctions, boycotts, and a cooling of relations with key allies. Diplomats warn that the peace process, already on life support, could collapse entirely. On the ground, there are fears of renewed clashes, border violence, and a hardening of positions on all sides. The fragile status quo could give way to a new era of uncertainty and unrest. The stakes are high, the risks are real, and the world is watching every move. As Israel's parliament debates the future of the West Bank, the outcome will shape not just the fate of a region, but the course of history itself.